Akademiks can't ride no wave.
Not bad.
Secretary, I believe we are very close to finishing.
Okay, now I want to talk about former President Bill Clinton's
videotape
deposition.
Bill pops up.
To have a president.
The only thing with Bill, I don't know if like Bill is just old and like he kind of senile now. Bill seemed mad happy to be there.
Even show up at.
Secretary, I believe we are
Look
very
at Bill.
close to finishing.
Okay, now I want to talk about
Look, he looked like
former President Bill.
He looked like he got some stories to tell. Look at him. He happy.
Clinton's videotape deposition. Pretty historic to have a president testify under oath like this. Haven't seen it in decades, and particularly regarding this case.
On August 5th, 2025, Chairman Comer issued a subpoena for President Clinton to appear today for a deposition in furtherance of the committee's investigation into the actions and investigations of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell. Can the witness please state his name for the record?
William Jefferson Clinton.
Thank you.
And here is Bill Clinton's opening statement.
I'm here today basically for two reasons. First of all, I love my country and the Constitution, and I believe America was built on the idea that no one is above the law,
Okay.
especially presidents, and that we should all live by the same set of rules shaped by the Constitution. Democracy requires every person to play their part, and I hope that by being here today, we can bring ourselves a little further away from the brink and back to being a country where we can disagree civilly and search for the truth and justice, and that outweighs the partisan urge for spectacle and point scoring. I will do my part, and I hope you'll do yours. The second reason I'm here is that the girls and women whose lives Jeffrey Epstein destroyed deserve not just justice, but healing. They've been waiting too long for both. Through my brief acquaintance with Jeffrey Epstein, though it ended years before his crimes came to light, and though I never witnessed during our limited interactions any indication of what was going on, I'm here to offer what little I know so I can do my part to prevent something like this from happening again.
And I will tell you, he had some thoughts about his wife's deposition, too.
I have to just say one personal thing. Since Hillary came in yesterday, she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Nothing.
Obviously. She was picking up for you.
There's a picture of us both shaking hands with him in a photo line in 1993 at a fundraiser for the White House Historical Association. I don't know how it is under President Trump, but when I was there, it was about the most non-political operation you can imagine. There were people who love the White House, who were interested in it, would give a little money every year to do things that needed doing around the house. And nothing nearly as extravagant as the ballroom or any of that, just things that had to be done. And neither she nor I remembered shaking his hand all those years ago. So I don't think that was right. On the other hand, I do think you should be talking to me. I think you should have called me. I did take those plane trips with him. And you have a right to ask those questions.
Okay.
So I'm glad to be here, and I understand what the oath is. I have to be honest with you. You know, I'll be 80 years old if I live to my next birthday. I don't remember everything that happened 24 years ago, but I do remember some things, and I will tell you what I remember as best I can. We, each of us, owe the victims nothing less than the truth and accuracy. We owe that to the American people.
Again, there is an argument that Hillary Clinton really wouldn't have much to provide or answer for with respect to Epstein or Maxwell even though, by the way, Maxwell was a +1 at their daughter Chelsea's wedding, but it was really the focus was on Bill, right? It seemed that he had a lot to answer for. So this is where Bill Clinton talks about his first encounter with Jeffrey Epstein.
And you mentioned that your first memory of interacting with Mr. Epstein was on your first trip. Which trip specifically?
I'm not sure which one it was. Which one was the first? I took all or part of 4 or 5 trips to Asia and Africa and one to Northern Europe on Mr. Epstein's airplane.
Is Bill, like, I feel like when Bill was president, there was a little bit of coolness, sharpness. He was never like Barack, but like he was kind of cool and a little bit sharp. This Bill I'm seeing is kind of like, he's 2020 Biden. Like, you look like, yo, he might lose all his mind might be out of here in like 2 years. Do you think he's playing, or do you think that, you know, it's just age? Because I feel like when Bill was like in office, like he was cool, you know, not the smartest, but like he was doing his thing. Now it feels like you're just dealing with an extra old dude.
And once when I was in Florida, I was offered a ride back to New York, but I wasn't there having it. It was just coincidental that he was there, and I think that was fairly early in the process, but I don't remember exactly. I just know that I did. I took one flight back from Florida to New York, and all or part of several other, I think 4 or 5 trips to Africa, Asia, and one to Northern Europe.
Then he gets more into the nature of his relationship with the deceased financier.
Can you briefly describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Well, sometime after I left the White House, either in late 2001 or early-ish in 2002, I received a call from Larry Summers, who had been on my economic team and was later Secretary of Treasury, and was then president of Harvard. And he said that he was calling because a man named Jeffrey Epstein, who had made a substantial commitment of several $1 million, I think it was 10, but whatever it was, I don't, to brain research. And that he was a information hungry person, and he wanted to spend some time talking to me about economics and politics. And he said, he's got this massive airplane, and he said he would take you, your staff, your Secret Service detail, and anybody else you wanted to bring on the trips that he knew I was planning to set up a global network to provide life-saving AIDS medicine to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible.
Mr. President, when did your relationship with Mr. Epstein end?
When did it end? Well, I believe I took my last flight in 2003.
I low-key actually believe him. I don't even think he capping type shit.
Later, I became aware of some involvement he had in the first Clinton Global Initiative, but it was much later.
Why did your relationship with Mr. Epstein end?
Well, after a year or two, we really picked up a head of steam with this AIDS program, and a lot of other people whom I knew better and who really cared about the work came forward and offered to help us provide transportation. And I thought Mr. Epstein was an interesting man, but I didn't think he was really interested in what I was doing. That is, he asked all these questions. He did ask about economics and politics, as he said he would. And he never asked me anything untoward. It's just that I thought I had done what I promised to do, and he had done what he promised to do. And I thought I've always, over the years, with these donors, tried not to overstay my welcome. I thought that we'd done enough, and then it's time to start working with other people.
Whoa.
When did you
Did y'all see that? Hands look super
Ask
shaky.
about economics and politics, as he
How
said.
old is Bill Clinton? Wow, he's 80 years old. Jeez. Damn, and he gotta like reminisce on like all of these things. Jeez.
That he would. And he never asked me anything untoward. It's just that I thought I had done what I promised to do, and he had done what he promised to do. And I thought I've always, over the years, with these donors, tried not to overstay my welcome. I thought that we'd done enough, and then it's time to start working with other people.
Here we go. Watch. Wow.
when did you first learn of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes?
I think in 2008 when he was prosecuted. There's nothing that I saw when I was around him that made me realize he was trafficking women. And I never,
Let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. When did you first meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I believe I first met her with him when she was working with him.
And what did you understand Miss Maxwell and what did you understand her relationship to be with Mr. Epstein?
I thought she was sort of his chief of staff or administrator.
And you said that you first met Miss Maxwell with Mr. Epstein. Is that after you were president?
Yeah, I don't believe I met her when I was president. I could have. I met a lot of people, I don't remember, but I definitely remember meeting her on that first flight.
Can you briefly, for the record, describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Miss Maxwell?
Yes, it was. It lasted longer and was more extensive than my relationship with Mr. Epstein because Ghislaine Maxwell started going with a man named Ted Waite.
What we're finding out also in this is that Ghislaine, yes, like we're kind of finding out her true nature. She realized that Epstein was a sexual deviant. She's about securing the bag, so she's gonna go get whatever bitches he want to fuck. She's taking an L where like she's supposed to be the girlfriend, but he's fucking these other girls. But she starts to deal with other guys, and not only is she dealing with these other guys, she's kind of like, you know what? All right, this is like my get back for you doing that, or not get back like she's mad, but it's just like it's even. Okay, you're trying to get all these young girls. I'll help you get them, but I need a guy who's putting, she wanted a dude who was fucking her. And this is where you get Bill Clinton who's saying, oh yeah, no, Ghislaine had a dude.
Let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. When did you first meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I believe I first met her with him when she was working with him.
And what did you understand Miss Maxwell, and what did you understand her relationship to be with Mr. Epstein?
I thought she was sort of his chief of staff or
My mic's too loud?
administrator.
I could turn it down a little bit.
And you said that you first met Miss Maxwell with Mr. Epstein. Is that after you were president?
Yeah, I don't believe I met her when I was president. I could have. I met a lot of people, I don't remember, but I definitely remember meeting her on that first flight.
Can you briefly, for the record, describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Miss Maxwell?
Yes, it was. It lasted longer and was more extensive than my relationship with Mr. Epstein because Ghislaine Maxwell started going with a man named Ted Waite, who had made a lot of money making the first sort of self-designed computers. And he was a big supporter of mine and the foundation before he started seeing Glenn. We'd been friends, and he was interested particularly in reducing pollution in the oceans. And so when she started going with him, I would see her from time to time.
And when did your relationship with Miss Maxwell end?
I don't think I've seen her in a decade. I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know exactly when.
Why did your relationship with Miss Maxwell end?
Well, first she moved to Boston, I think. She had a relationship with a man there, and I think they may have married. And so she wasn't so much around, and then when it became, after 2019, when it became obvious that she was involved too, to an extent that I did not know, that was the end of it.
Now, while I mentioned the interaction with Epstein was before the criminal charges, right, in 2006, and then the guilty plea in 2008, Clinton is asked if authorities had reached out to him and whether Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell were part of intelligence agencies, right? This goes to the idea of the pair honey trapping.
So here's the interesting part. And I know some of y'all might be like, hey, you just don't get what's going on, or you're a little bit bored. I apologize for that. So there's so many theories about Epstein. This deposition is supposed to give us a lot more info. And one of the theories is that Epstein, the reason why he got away with so much stuff, he's part of intelligence. What does that mean? He's a spy, or he was working with Israel, the Mossad, their intelligence agents, or he's working with the CIA, or he's working with the FBI. And here's the interesting part. So now he's in, now not Epstein. Epstein's dead, but Bill is in a deposition. And one thing we know about presidents is that presidents have access to classified material, right? So if he's asked something that might be classified, we don't know. It might be a classified thing that Epstein was working with so and so and so and so. Could he just say it, or does he have to remember that this is classified documents or classified information, and he obviously can't lie, but maybe there's a way for him to kind of like plead under being deposed. Because here's the thing. Yes, you can't lie, but if they ask you, hey, what's the nuclear codes when you were president, you don't have to tell them that, right? Like, again, you could acknowledge that maybe you knew what it was, but the way how it works in terms of not lying to the people asking you questions, or not lying at all, but they might be asking federally protected questions. That's the interesting part. I actually don't even have the answer for that.
Very powerful and influential and wealthy men for blackmail purposes, right? Possibly for foreign governments.
Mr. President, for the record, have you ever been contacted by any law enforcement agency concerning Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
It would probably be...
As far as I know, no. That is, as far as I remember. Back in 2008, I sort of thought somebody might ask me something. Because I was glad.
It's interesting watching it. Is like, you see that finger right here?
This had come out since it had happened. But I don't believe anybody. I thought somebody might ask me something. I remember.
Look at this.
Back in 2008, I sort of thought somebody might ask me something.
Watch this little finger right here.
Because I was glad this had come out since it had happened. But I don't believe anybody ever did.
You mentioned that you thought someone would want to ask you something. Can you elaborate on what that means?
Just because he let me use this airplane.
And to be clear, have you ever provided any information to any law enforcement agency concerning Jeffrey Epstein or Miss Ghislaine Maxwell?
This is where like it gets a little dicey, because that could be classified. He was the president of the United States. The president of the United States speaking with a law enforcement body. You do know when he was the president, the Department of Justice, which is the federal, arm of the government, they report to him. So like, why would they grill him? So it would have to be when he wasn't president, right? Where maybe somebody else had the DOJ. And
Maxwell?
he looks at his lawyer.
So you asked this question before. You're just asking him to reiterate the response to the question that he previously asked you, Mr. President.
I don't believe any law enforcement agency has ever asked me. And I didn't know enough to volunteer anything.
Mr. President, are you aware of any efforts by anyone, including an attorney, process server, investigator, or any other person to contact you regarding any civil lawsuit, claim, or litigation involving Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
Not that I recall.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever inform or represent to you that he was working with any intelligence service of any nation, including the United States?
No.
Did Ghislaine Maxwell...
And I hope you guys are not misinterpreting what I'm saying. That would be classified, I would imagine. Right? Like, you tell the president of the United States or a person who would have the highest clearance in the world that, hey, I'm a agent, or I'm working with, whether it's the Mossad or I'm working with CIA, why the hell would, in a deposition that they later just leaked to everybody, why would that info just come out?
Ever inform or represent to you that she was working with any intelligence service of any nation, including the United States?
No.
And during your relationship, did you ever suspect Epstein or Maxwell of being affiliated with any intelligence agency?
I did not.
All right. Now, you know that the former president was going to be asked about massages and young girls, right? And also, by the way, he was asked about, we've talked about this before, remember Epstein's 50th birthday compilation book that was put together by Ghislaine Maxwell? There's an entry from Bill Clinton. It reads, "It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends."
Okay, my next question for you is, have you ever had contact with an individual by the name of Shantae Davies?
I believe Shantae was, that's a distinctive name, and so I think that was the name of one of his flight attendants.
Okay. She's been described on being on a 2002 Africa trip and providing massages. Was she or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yo, look at his lawyer. I gotta show you his lawyer, this black lady. So he's flanked by 2 attorneys, but you could tell he's heavily prepped. They don't want him to fuck this up. Don't say nothing that you're gonna have to get further questioning on. You're gonna be on clear, and don't also fucking say too much.
Okay. Did you ever receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip?
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
Now, this picture, which they're not gonna show, is a Bill Clinton neck rub. So he's speaking about this particular picture here. I believe this is it. So this is a neck rub that he's receiving from a young female. We don't know how old she was at the time. Let me see what it says in the caption. It says, "Would you mind giving a crack?" Bill Clinton leans back and smiles while receiving a neck massage from Jeffrey Epstein. So this person's supposedly a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, and they're saying she was 22 years old. I don't know if you guys can see it. My bad, this was cut off. Okay, so she was 22 and never before seen photos on a plane trip to Africa in 2002. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is what they're asking him about.
Okay.
And I think Shantae did it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guffrey, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
Objection, speculation.
Wait, okay, let's go back. What happened?
Testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls.
Oh, so Ghislaine said that he was on the island with 2 young girls. Wow.
Okay.
And I think Shantae did it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guffrey, who has testified seeing you on the island with
Okay,
2
never
young
mind.
girls.
So that's one of the notable victims, Victoria Guthrie, I think that's her name.
Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
Objection, speculation. He can't possibly.
Have you ever met her or any other Epstein associated underage girl?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. In Epstein's 2016 deposition unsealed in the DOJ files, he refused to answer if you were accompanied by 2 young women who were approximately 18 years old on the island. Were any such women potentially underage with you? I know you've stated that you were not there, but did you have any interaction
Look at the lawyer. Look how worried this lawyer looks.
with the said
Objection to
individuals?
the foundation of the question. He's already stated he was not on the island.
By the way, the other lawyer that's flanking him is making the objections. Now, granted, these objections doesn't mean the question doesn't have to be answered because there's no judge to overrule it or sustain it.
You're now asking about a claim of the Fifth Amendment by Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
At this time, I'd like to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit 13. And this is Bates marked House Oversight 000126. And while it's being passed out, this is a letter from a book of letters, which
Yeah,
was
it's his
compiled
50th birthday.
Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday.
The questions.
Yeah.
The lawyer's trying to tell him to shut the fuck up because he's trying to, he's a little bit extra familiar with the info that they're passing out. He's like, oh, that's his 50th birthday. Like, hold on now. I thought you got Alzheimer's, motherfucker. How you remember this shit?
Mr. President, do you recognize this
I do.
letter?
Oh, nah.
And for the
Yo, look at the lawyer. Look, mad stressed, nigga. Do not say like you just.
record, does this appear to be your handwriting and
It
signature?
is.
Oh, nah.
And why did you write this letter?
Why did I? Because I was requested to contribute a nice letter for his birthday book.
And who asked you to write the letter?
I don't remember.
Would Ms. Maxwell have
I
asked you?
don't know. I think someone on my staff asked me.
Now, there's a word that our committee has not been able to identify, and in our defense, the
You see the lawyers are laughing like, oh, you're not going to play games. Bill laughing too.
Wall Street Journal has not been able to identify.
Imagine being on his staff.
Can you please read the letter for the
Well, they're trying to kind of joke it out like, oh, no, his handwriting's bad.
record?
Yes. It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and errors, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. Not a bad letter.
And because we haven't been able to identify that word until now, what did you
Which
mean?
word was it that you could not?
Solace, you couldn't,
No, errors.
errors. What
Were
did
you
I mean?
refer-
Anybody who's lived 50 years and done anything has made mistakes as well as progress and done things.
But for the record, you weren't referring to errors in judgment that Mr. Epstein had.
Now, here's a problem that an attorney, you see the attorney right here, has. Because, like, yo, if you know any old nigga, like, bro, they're down to just keep it so much a buck. Like, they be just thinking about death. Like, yo, they finna die. They're not here to, like, still lie. You know what I mean? A young nigga gonna lie. Like, the old nigga gonna really just tell you the truth. So, like, they're trying to get, like, what they think the truth is out of him. But this attorney got to be on her game to be like, yo, I know he old as shit, and he might not just give a fuck and just say anything to y'all, but y'all not going to try to get him hemmed up, right? Because they're trying to, like, get some contexts.
But for the record, you weren't referring to errors in judgment that Mr. Epstein had related to his inappropriate activities involving young.
Absolutely not. I knew nothing about that.
And then we get to the hot tub photo.
What we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo, recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those
Let's look at the photo. Bill Clinton, hot tub. I gotta see what is. Maybe is this photo not? Oh shit! What? Oh nah. Oh nah. This the photo? Oh nah. Chat, I know one of them ones. Yo, he getting his. Holy shit. Yo, everybody know what that means right here. That's like when a chick whopping you up so crazy, you hit her with a diss, and you know what it means? It's the visual representation of look ma, no hands. Look ma, no hand. For real. You feel me? Holy. Like, come on, everybody know what that is. Come on, stop the cap. Yo, Bill was getting topped off. Yo, who took that picture? That's the feds. That's the police right there. That's the police. She said, look, ma, no hands. Ain't no darling, I don't dance. I'm a Roscoe, I'm a Walker. I think I deserve a chance. I'm a bad mother effer. Go ask the mother. Nah, holy. Yo, Bill was in. Yo, that look on his face. Y'all know Bill got to be tight like your bruv. It's not even like I could double back on these moments. Like, yo, this 40 years ago, and I got to still talk about this shit, man. Stop the cap, bruv. Holy. The nigga had his hands like this. One of them ones. What?
who can't see it, it's a
And because we haven't been able to identify that word until now, what did you
Which
mean?
word was it that you could not?
Solace, you couldn't,
No, errors.
errors. What
Were
did
you
I mean?
refer-
Anybody who's lived 50 years and done anything has made mistakes as well as progress and done things.
But for the record, you weren't referring to errors in judgment that Mr. Epstein had related to his inappropriate activities involving you.
Absolutely not. I knew nothing about that.
And then we get to the hot tub photo.
Here we
What
go.
we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo, recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this pic, and I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, is it, who is that including?
Well, my TIL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and
Okay.
Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. He said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use this big pool. It was on the same floor.
Which
All right, I ain't gonna lie. Let's just kind of wrap this up by saying we have no fucking idea if Bill did do anything or not. He kind of covered his bases by, number one, he's 79. He's about to be 80. He's kind of like, this is a long time ago. I don't remember. There's no one that's going to say that I was fucking kids. And they're kind of throwing the pictures in his face and say, oh, bro, you're laying back in the hot tub with your hands behind your head. Nigga, we know your dick is hard. You getting your shit sucked on. What's popping? He's acting like, oh, nah, I don't know what's going on. They asked him, yo, you were on mad trips with the dude. What's popping? They're like, well, we went to certain places, but this is all, he has the escape ability of saying, I don't deserve blame because it's not like I was doing this after he got caught. I did this before he got caught. So anything I did, I was just chilling. The real questions, which I don't think that was asked, and maybe I got to watch the whole thing to see if it was asked. Brother, you're a high-ranking political official, if not the president of the United States at the time. Why the fuck are you in a fucking hot tub with a guy with your hands behind your head looking like your dick is hard, like you about to get your dick sucked, if you are not all the way confident with the person that is set up the scenario, which is Jeffrey Epstein? So you were really comfortable with him then. You were in the mindset that this guy and whatever he was doing, whether sexually or privately, you were cool with at one point. So this idea now where you're like, oh, no, I didn't know anything, it kind of sounds a little suspect.
which is on the public record? I'm
With
sorry,
Jeffrey
what's your
Epstein?
question?
No,
You were never in the Virgin Islands
with
with
Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Jeff.
And I got to say, the final one I want to talk about right now is very interesting. Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? There's been a lot of speculation about.
I would just like to ask you personally and directly, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Are you asking him to speculate on how Mr. Epstein died?
I'm asking what the president thinks of.
So you're asking his opinion?
Mr. President, was your friend Jeffrey Epstein
Are
suicidal?
you classifying him as a friend who he has testified that he was
has
friendly?
called him a friend in a letter.
He said he was friendly, but not. You've asked for his testimony.
Mr. President, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein was suicidal?
Do you know?
Was he ever
She's asking for the
suicidal?
best of your
Oh,
understanding.
shit. The lawyer just answer for him?
Do you know?
Was he
Oh, no, he's clarifying. Do you know? They can't answer for him.
ever
She's asking for the
suicidal?
best of your
I
understanding.
don't know. I only know what the medical finding was. I think maybe
That's it.
he finally got caught, and I don't know. I've accepted it in my own mind. I don't know what happened.
Mr. President, what did you accept? That he killed himself or that he did not?
That he did, but I don't know.
Yes, sir. Thank
And
you,
neither
Mr.
do
President.
We don't, none of us know. We weren't there.
Mr. President, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Okay. Hillary spoke after the whole thing. Okay, so she spoke here, and let me take a piss real quick while you watch this. All
My
right.
statement this morning.
And by the way, when I return from taking a piss, after we're done listening to this, we're gonna now bring up, and I'm gonna introduce this Nancy Mace person, and they're actually requesting that Jay-Z be sat down, not necessarily for a deposition, but sat down in front of one of these committees to answer questions under oath federally about his association with Jeffrey Epstein or maybe other people of the like. Again, remember, there's this one person, her name is Nancy Mace. She just feels like there's a lot of creepiness going on, and she just wants to find out stuff. Okay? Let me play this real quick. I got to take a piss.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance. But whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond. It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing, so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself. We had asked for that. We think it would have been better for the committee and its efforts to gather whatever information they are seeking. We had a bit of a challenge in the beginning because we had agreed upon rules based on the fact it was going to be a closed hearing at their demand, and one of the members violated that rule, which was very upsetting because it suggested that they might violate other of our agreements. So we had to cease the hearing for a period of time until we could get assurances that no rules would be broken going forward, and we returned to answer questions repetitively, literally over and over again. I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times. It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate, one of the most vile, bogus conspiracy theories that was propagated on the internet that was serving as the basis of a member's questions to me. So I can only say that the best exchange that I had came at the very end when, contrary to every other deposition they have taken, no Republican member asked any questions about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to anyone else they have deposed. And in fact, the Republican members didn't even show up for the deposition of Les Wexner. And when I said that, I had to point out that the only questions that any Republican member asked of any of the people they deposed was of former Attorney General Bill Barr when Chairman Comer asked him about the allegations, in his view, about Russia's involvement in my election in 2016. So at the very end of this hearing, after I made that point,
Okay,
I want to commend.
All right, so she's kind of recapping it. Let's get